Good evening. My name is Osvaldo Costa, and this video that I'm recording is for educational psychology, and I'm going to talk about the learning theory that I liked the most. And for me, it was Gestalt psychology. I was going to do it about conductism, but I think Gestalt delves deeper into people's minds and people's psyche. I think it's a theory that stands out above the others because it's very different. And basically, it talks about the shape, the form, and the complete or incomplete form of things, going from geometric shapes to, ideas, and well, it is something that can be applied very deeply into people's minds and to several other objects and concepts rather than just figures and shapes. So I find it very interesting. Teacher, that I really like video games, and actually, in a video game that I really like, there is a mention of this theory and a mention of this German word, which is form or shape, and it's actually the name of a character in the game that you have to face, and it can take several shapes, and you must be able to pinpoint the shape, the way that the character is going to transform or to evolve in order to defeat it. So I think it's very interesting. And now I'm going to talk about my lesson plan. My lesson plan is for high school. It's for grades 9 to 12. O sea, para la prepa. The subject is psychology itself. It's talking about this theory and how it stands out from the other theories, how it's different. The duration is 50 minutes and the topic is Gestalt psychology. The objectives are to define the core principles of Gestalt psychology, recognize how these principles are used in everyday life, apply Gestalt principles to analyze visual images and design, and understand the difference between how we perceive parts and wholes in the world around us. Those are the objectives that must be achieved by the end of the lesson. The materials are, a whiteboard or even a chalkboard, I don't know, chalk or markers, a projector. It's optional, but I think it's actually better because you can be more creative with it. Handouts with Gestalt principles. We're going to work in teams, so we're going to hand out printed copies of principles of Gestalt, and images and illustrating the principles, and art supplies, so that because we're going to draw and complete actual shapes, so we're going to need that also. And this is a lesson breakdown. We're going to do an introduction on Gestalt psychology and introduce basic concepts such as a brief introduction of what it means. Gestalt means shape, as I already told you, or form in German, and it emphasizes the idea that the mind perceives objects as whole patterns, not just collection of parts. We must define the main principles of Gestalt psychology, which are figure ground perception, proximity, similarity, closure, and continuity, which are going to be also in the printed handouts. And in this part, the discussion points will be to ask the students what happens when we look at a picture. Do we see each individual part, or do we see a complete image? And to show an example image that demonstrates figure ground perception, for example, a vase face illusion, and explain the concept. We're going to explain it and also show it. This also relates to observational learning. I don't remember the theory, but it's in here. Uh, Next, and in stage two, we're going to do a group exploration. Students will work in small groups to explore examples of Gestalt. The activities will be to split the class into small groups, 3 or 4 students, provide each group with a set of visual images or optical illusions that demonstrate Gestalt principles, and ask each group to identify which Gestalt principle is present in their images and briefly discuss how it works. So they're going to relate the image with each principle, which is what we saw in stage one. And the application in the application activity, students will apply Gestalt principles to analyze real-world examples. The activities will be to show students several logos or advertisements, for example, the World Wildlife Fund logo, FedEx logo, and ask them to identify how Gestalt principles are used in design. They're going to find shapes and find continuity within these designs of logos. And then after, we're going to discuss how designers use proximity, similarity, closure to create logos that are memorable and effective. Stage number 4, hands-on design activity. In this, the objective will be the students will apply Gestalt principles creatively in a hands-on project. The activities include asking the students to create their own simple design, a logo, poster, or image. I'm so sorry, teacher. Using at least 3 of Gestalt's principles they've learned. I don't know why I'm talking and I'm getting a sore throat. Next, we're going to provide basic art supplies. Well, the ones that we mentioned at the beginning. They're going to use them in stage 4. And then to let them, and we're going to let them work digitally if they prefer. But we have the option to do it with hands-on. And then we're going to encourage students to focus on how the principles of proximity, similarity, enclosure, and etc. can be used to make their design visually appealing and effective. In here, the discussion points will be to walk around and help students with the design process, and also to assess learning, offering suggestions on how to incorporate Gestalt principles, asking students to briefly explain which principles they applied in their designs so they can explain to you and repeat, and this will also help it to be to become meaningful learning. And in the final stage, which is the wrap-up and reflection, the objective will be to review the key concepts and allow students to reflect on the lesson. The activities include bringing the class back together and ask a few students to share their designs and explain which Gestalt principles they used. Summarize the key points of the lesson, reinforcing the idea that the mind perceives wholes and patterns rather than isolated parts. And finally, asking students to reflect, how do you think understanding Gestalt principles can change the way you look at the world around you? And the exit question will be, well, I'm going to include an exit question that will be like homework. And it is, how do you think Gestalt principles could help you in everyday situations, like interpreting visual information, designing things, or even solving problems? And the extended learning will be to ask students to find an advertisement, website, or logo and analyze how it uses Gestalt principles. Have them write a short paragraph explaining the principles they observe and how they enhance the visual image. And that's it for my lesson plan for high school class. As you may have noticed, it's kind of a more advanced, more complex kind of class. I wanted to do it this way because throughout the semester we kind of like develop lessons for elementary school or even middle school, but not for high school. So I wanted to change it up a little bit. I hope you liked it. And to summarize and conclude this video, I just want to tell you that I really like this theory. I think it's the one that I found more interesting, and I want to thank you. I hope you made it to this part of the video. I want to thank you, teacher, for letting me once again experience. Sorry, what it is to learn about psychology. I really like psychology, and I really enjoyed this class because it was a brand new opportunity to explore again these theories and schools of learning and branches of psychology. So, thank you, and see you later. Thank you, teacher.